Going into this Nvidia earnings report, it should be out any second, and it just flashed in front of me. 222 on the EPS versus 209 expected. So EPS not up 99% over the year, Gem. It's only up 111% now. That's a beat of 6%. The revs are higher as well here. The expected move, though, for today's report was about 5.4%. And so if you're looking at the zero DTEs, for example, that brought you down to about 197 up to 222.5. This market reaction so far is very much contained here.
Yeah, which is what I would have expected, by the way. I think a down muted move is the most likely move.
Down muted, and the NASDAQ here, 29,340. Obviously, what Jensen Huang has to say here, the CEO of NVIDIA, after hours, and his guidance, his discussion on their gross margins, which, if the numbers I see are correct, their gross margins are down to 75%. So even the great NVIDIA can't stave off the amount of money it costs to buy these chips, Gem. The semiconductor companies are still charging an arm and a leg and getting away with it here.
Okay, at some point, it's all about this CapEx, right? And so any read through on that CapEx is the key. But again, I want to be clear. My view is that as long as these numbers aren't way out of line, it's hard nowadays for numbers to be way out of line, especially for somebody as big as NVIDIA, where all the channel checks and all the things are going on. It's not, as long as it's not way out of line, the call skew decays. Vol compression means call skew decays, which means dealers who are short those calls have to sell their long stock. That's how this works. So the pressure at baseline with vol down in NVIDIA is a sale in stock. And so the highest likelihood is low, small move down, not guaranteed, but generally that's why it's been small down or down in general. And this time people are starting to pick up on that. Vol has gotten more compressed going into this with a downside bias.
Okay, so even so, Gem, 76.92 here on ES. I mean, I'm looking at the immediate move in NVIDIA, and it's down a little bit now, just under 205 or so. But seeking the broader market, there's not much movement whatsoever. Okay, so if outright, go ahead.
Which is what I would expect. Again, they priced in a much smaller move this time for good reason. And it's not just good reason. The more that vol is compressed, the less likely there's to be a move. That implied vol compression here, they beat every time. It's gone down every time, right? Same reasons. It's flows. It's not really about the number here. We know the numbers are going to be good. Broadly, it's a matter of can they outprice what those calls are priced on. And that's really hard to do.
Gem, we were looking at this from the 9 days to go expiration cycle yesterday when we were thinking about our NVIDIA trade. And it looks like for those that were operating on the same time horizon as me, staying a little bit beyond the expected move, but still collecting around $1.70 so in credit on those $5 wide strikes. We're in at 207, so pinned right in the middle of the range. Working out swimming so far. We'll see if we can keep this going, though. Gem, you and I spoke a week ago, and we were both reacting to what Scott Bessent did with this Treasury intervention, and we arrived at the same conclusion, perhaps for different reasons, which was own scarce assets. Since the start of August, gold's up about 14% right now, despite its pullback today. Bitcoin is up around 28% over the past 11 trading days. I know that we've been right in the short term, but how right are we going to be? And is this going to keep running?
This is my surprise face. We've been talking about this for years. Gold is a secular trade. There are structural inflationary pressures. We've talked about it at length for years. For anybody who's following us, they know this, but those that aren't, populism at its core is causing fiscal spending. Druckenmiller writes about austerity. Good luck. We're not about to do austerity, and he knows it. That is a straw man if I've ever seen one. The reality is populism drives spending, increased spending. We were already at deficits. That's not coming back. That's the first thing. Second thing, importantly, everybody refinanced in 2021, 5 to 7 year duration. What does that mean? That means everyone, not just human beings in real estate, but corporations, venture capital, private equity, sovereign countries. Everybody has to refinance, and that is supply on the long end of the curve. Okay. That is, who's going to buy that debt? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So that's two. That's the wave. There's actually four things. I said three. Three, we're alienating all our buyers. China's selling our debt. Everybody is. We're moving to gold because of all these things. Three, that's supply. Lastly, we have global conflict, and I've been talking about it since 2021. If you put up borders and we start trying to compete with China and stop their ascent, what happens? Global conflict. Iran is about maintaining the exorbitant privilege of the dollar and putting a moat around it. That's not ending anytime soon. I've been very vocal about this. That's not ending. That's inflationary as well and pushes pressure on the long end of the curve. These pressures have been at play for a while. They come in, some come in fits and spurts. And by the time people start giving up on gold is when you want to start buying it again. And here we are. And now it's starting to go. You want to own calls, not just the underlying. You want to own calls. You want leverage to this move. Much like I said at the beginning of this move in 2021, I was very vocal about it then, before this all started, before anybody even said the word gold, had talked about it for years. Maybe just me and, Schiff. The reality is that in 2021, nobody's talking about it. And the more everybody talked about it after a 3X, the more it had to digest. And that's what that move early this year was. But here it goes again. Buckle up. This is going for another 2 to 3X in the next couple of years.
Schiff has taken a lot of crap over the years, including from people like myself publicly on Twitter.
And he deserved it, by the way, because he was long gold for 25 years. I got long it in 2021. I wasn't long it for 2020.
I will say he did post a video at the start of last year. You can go check my Twitter feed about this, where it was him partying in Miami and like gloating about how Bitcoin was so much better than, or gold was so much better than Bitcoin. I think in the following 2 weeks, Bitcoin gained like 20% on gold. So he's an interesting sentiment check, just like I can be at sometimes. Cem, before we wrap this up, you mentioned this. What's the Greek phrase I'm thinking of? The Thucydides trap, right? A rising power is ultimately going to challenge the empire, and the empire, because of its concern of decline, is going to make mistakes that make conflict between the rising power and the old power inevitable. Please, someone pronounce me my pronunciation. I'm Italian, not Greek. Cem, is that
I'm not going to try and correct you. That is my view is a little bit nuanced there. I don't think that this had to be inevitable in our confrontation per se. I think the U.S. had an ability 10, 20 years ago to proactively do a lot of the things that it's now a little bit tardy to doing, which is trying to put up some walls and protect kind of our internal manufacturing, our internal production, our people. Unfortunately, we allowed kind of the free market economics, but what our founding fathers actually argued against, just the corruption of money and power to enter the system, and so all we've done is favor all the systems, the Federal Reserve, monetary policy, Reaganomics, all of this is supply side economics. We sold the people of America a lie, which was trickle down economics. And now we have to pay for it. And the reality is, when you let the pendulum swing that far, it's never just going to swing towards the middle. It's going to overextend the other way. And we're still just far from the middle. So buckle up. Again, I've been talking about this for years. Yes. This is a decade to 20-year thing that you need to be preparing for, and people are starting to catch up. People can go to our YouTube channel and look at the conversations that you and Victor Jones, me and Victor Jones were having in 2023 and 2024, and check the scoreboard. Here we are now. Interestingly enough, amongst all this, I feel like now that we're heading into Jackson Hole, before we get you out the door here, what's your take now on the markets heading into what's obviously going to be the next big catalyst, and perhaps the last big catalyst of the summer, because we get through next week and then we're heading into Labor Day, and then, it's a normal month again. Kids are back in school, camp's over, mom and dad are back at work. Don't sleep on Jackson Hole. And the reason I say that is I don't think this Drunken Miller op-ed is a coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that it rhymes with everything you've heard from Warsh, but that Warsh has not acted on. I think, they are setting up for a defense of the dollar, a broad commentary expect a commentary from Warsh coming out that might surprise the markets a little bit about really talking about a need for, against austerity, cutting Social Security, or doing calling for less spending. and also hinting, although I don't believe they'll follow through with it for 1 second, of potential, a stronger dollar in defense of currency. That will be the opposite of what we're hearing from Bessent, so that'll be surprise the market. I want to be clear: this is a good cop, bad cop routine. Okay, the market will eventually learn this, but it is on one side of the policy debate, and is not watching for this. And the whole goal here is to do what Bessent is doing. That is the thrust of what we're doing. But to argue that it is only doing it because it has to, and we are going to point the finger at Congress and tell the world it's Congress's fault, and force a narrative that also allows us to cut Social Security in the coming crisis. This is not a coincidence. Drucker Miller doesn't just come on the stage, pick a fight with Bessent without them talking for media. This is not what you think it is. I'm telling you, they are preparing a good cop, bad cop routine, and it is a hint, in my opinion, for what you're going to hear at Jackson Hole from Warsh.
We are pawns in someone else's game.